Hi Aries, Sun, Moon and Rising, welcome to Ethernal Realms and welcome to your November Taurus eclipse reading. This one's a time of the total lunar eclipse. It's happening at the time of the full moon. Okay, so I was just checking what else is involved around this time. We have Mercury and Uranus playing a role in this eclipse here. And I already mentioned this in the monthly reading for November. If you have not checked that out, you can do so. It's already up. But this is going to kind of bookend the eclipse season for this year. And it is affecting Scorpios and Tauruses the most, but of course it's a time of the eclipse, so it's going to be affecting each and every person. For you, it is happening in the second house of finances, material possessions, self-worth, and things that you value. What are you protective of? What do you want to nurture and kind of harness and make that flourish into something more? And you had an eclipse, which was a solar eclipse in Scorpio just a couple weeks ago. That was in your 8th house and happened on the 25th of October. Now, eclipses have their effects that are long-term and go on for 6 months. So basically all the reading that we will do here is going to be about 6 months, within the next 6 months, basically. Okay. And kind of shows I want to say, the opposing side or the mirroring side or the projection of the Scorpio eclipse as well. While something is being released, something else is also being birthed, and this eclipse is when you're more likely to figure out what exactly it might be. And it's about liberation and freedom as well, dissolving of limitations, finding more independence within. Okay, so let's see your cards. We have the Elder of Swords or the King of Swords, and this is a super critical thinking card, very well communicated, effective speech, diplomacy, a lot of skill and tact in how you present yourself, the way you're thinking and perceiving your world, things like that. So your mental energy and prowess is really heightening, and you're able to see things from a more objective viewpoint. You're looking at your life and you're kind of putting things in place. You're putting things in perspective is what I'm getting here. You look at something and you're like, this has literally no meaning in my life. Why is this here? It's just some dead weight in the house or something. And you might decide to cut off those habits or possessions. Okay. It can also talk about having a lot of communication, perhaps learning from someone who's an expert in their field. If you are an expert, then you are learning from them. And the Page of Pentacles would come in to support that. Perhaps you want to arrange for some finances and loans in order to go for a higher education. And this here gives you a very good possibility of having that happen. You're finding the resources, you're super curious about certain things. Even if you're not taking a course, this can be that you are interested in a certain hobby and you're curious to discover where that leads. So it's not really about, yes, I know this is the direction I want to go, so I'm just going to go and pursue it. That would be the Knight of Pentacles. But in the Child of Pentacles or the Page of Pentacles, you don't really want to commit to something yet because you're still learning the basics of something. So whatever this hobby is, it's either just the hobby or it's something that you have gathered very newly and is piquing your interest here. It's also about nourishing your curious side and your child self, connecting with nature, grounding yourself, and also breathing more effectively, fixing your diet, or again, what you value is going to be quite different for everyone, right? It is generally connected with money, but that's not something each and every person values to be a true part of themselves. So it also includes your moral compass, it includes your interests and the things you like to purchase, things you want to surround yourself with, and so on. So what you're surrounding yourself is with open-mindedness, basically. Even the King of Swords is, he reached to the king not because he was brutal or anything. He used his tact and he used his intelligence. He has risen above his challenges because he has gone through them. He did not escape it. He tried to understand and work with those energies. And he has failed numerous times, but that does not matter to him because those experiences taught him the most valuable lessons, which keeps him very humble while he also is rising to the top. Okay, so these are some qualities you're embodying this month. Actually 6 months from now, but this month is when it really is beginning. Okay, then we have the Five of Wands, which can indicate a conflict, competition, some type of turmoil. It can be internal, but it can also be external, like ego battles, or there can be kind of spreading your energy very thinly. Your ruler Mars is in Gemini and it is retrograde, so it might have more trouble fixing itself on one idea. And Aries likes to have the straightforward channel where, you know, it knows its path and it knows how to push through no matter what, right? But for that, there is a heightened level of determination, passion, and assertion that is needed. And while Mars is in retrograde, it's a little bit difficult to find. So you might find yourself scattering your energy, kind of feeling frustrated a lot more, or you're extending yourself in many different avenues, hoping that something will stick. But there is not much commitment to either side, and it's just burning you out. And in the workplace, for example, if you're talking about a boss or a teacher, there can be some competition you have to go through in order to find your admission, but that is very natural as well. It's just showing up as a highlight at this time. But basically, the point of this is that everyone is trying to get to the same goal. So we don't need to fight with each other. We can work with each other or learn from one another. The war happens and the battle happens because our minds are really closed and we're not willing to compromise. That's why I really love that we have the King of Swords here, which means that you, at least from your side, are willing to understand and recognize where you need to go. So even if it can be chaotic around you, which can affect you as well, you're not bothered by it because you're not doing it for an egoic reason. You're doing something for to learn something, to feel more secure where you are, and so on. You have a different meaning in mind, so you're not really wrapped up in the entirety of the chaos. Okay, lovely. Then we have the Ten of Swords, which indicates the end of a chapter. Well, that's not surprising because, like I said, it's the last eclipse here. Last eclipse in Taurus for, I think, some time. We will still have one more in Scorpio in 2023, but Taurus for a bit, not much. But Ten of Swords indicates end of a chapter. So once again, if you're moving away from home for the first time, that can be a little bit difficult, or if it doesn't even have to be home specifically, but moving from one place to another, ending one chapter, beginning a completely new one, it can feel like a big deal, right? It's kind of an end of an era type of vibe. Although it does not have to be that dramatic always. But since it is an eclipse, I would say that it can feel a little bit dramatic. But I feel like there's acknowledgement of the ending. You know, it's sort of, yeah, well, you know, this is coming to a natural close. So I don't think it's a surprise in any way. You know that this is bound to happen. This can be in terms of relationships, but in terms of mentality as well, because Swords talks about communication and also the mind. So a way that you think, let's say you have been a teacher for a very long time and you've not been a student for quite some time. So now you're thinking, maybe I should go back to school. I really miss college life or school life. I also miss learning new things and expanding my horizons without having so many things to manage and delegate and etc. Right? So you might like put a close to it because it's naturally waning in interest from your mind because there's a whole new thing that's demanding your attention. So yeah, it does not have to be the whole like, oh my god, everything is ruined and now we're gonna move to the next chapter. But yeah, it can be that certain connections that close out. If there are some people with whom you have egoic battles in your personal life, then that can indicate an end to that cycle. Either you're resolving it by using the King of Swords philosophy of diplomacy and tact and just sorting it out without needing to butt heads. Or if this person just does not resonate in your life, you're just moving on from that. And we also have the Devil, which is the Capricorn energy. It's really good for career and a material life. It can also talk about your shadows and limitations that are there. In Scorpio, which is in your 8th house, that's where I would connect obsessive tendencies and fears, insecurities, the parts of us that we don't like to see and don't like to acknowledge, but are there nonetheless. So the devil teaches that integration and wholeness can only be found through understanding your deepest, darkest parts as well, and to accept them, not cater to them, not indulge in them necessarily, but to accept why they're there. And for that, a deeper level of understanding of the mind is needed. For example, when someone is addicted to something, then I'm not a therapist, by the way, so I do not know how to officially treat addictions or anything, so I'm not claiming that. But the question is sort of, why am I addicted to this particular habit? Why am I so obsessed with this particular person or a result or the outcome of a certain thing? Where is that attachment coming from? Because that attachment is what causes the stress. And when we just let go and we're like, I'm just gonna do my thing and go about stuff, then we find ourselves doing things a lot easier. And even if we don't really know where exactly we're headed, and there are times when things will be unknown, it doesn't bother us the way it would if we were attached to a certain outcome. And by not attaching, you will find a lot more success by dealing with your difficulties, the inhibitions you have internally, the expectations and obligations that you put on yourself, etc. By working through those things and asking the right questions, you're kind of gathering more awareness, and that helps you find a lot more success down the line. It's gorgeous. Okay, then we have Thumbelina. This is, I feel, the card for humility in this case. You're bringing yourself down and you are rediscovering the world, I'm hearing. You are discovering what you value, what is worth it. Yeah, what is worth it. And you're going down to the very minute things, like, do I like this pen? Do I like this pencil? You know, really random things which you had not really noticed, but now, as if Mars going retro has turned on the microscope or something, and you're looking at things very long and hard, and you're making calculated decisions, but also from a place of broad-mindedness of what can expand. It's a big wide world out there. What can I explore next? Then we have the Sun, which talks about illumination, clarity, enlightenment, and awareness. It also talks about hope, optimism, joy, and success. So all in all, I mean, that's great. It connects with the Leo energy as well, which is a fellow fire sign. So you have a heightened sense of confidence and charisma. You are able to express yourself very well to yourself and also others, like we saw in the King of Swords. Okay. Then we have overrate your intuition. This is connected with the High Priestess, and it's about knowing when to stop the battle. Because what is the purpose here? What is the meaning here? So once again, getting that big picture view, broadening your horizons, listening to that little voice, you're going down to the very smallest bits of you. You're paying attention, turning inward and paying attention to that smallest bit of you. It can be your inner child, it's your soul, it's your intuition, the subtle voices that usually go missed. Those things are coming to the surface, and that is heightening your awareness to like a much bigger level than you're used to so far. Then we have bliss is worth creating from, and again, this is opening your heart, doing something that you enjoy, not because you have to, putting down the pressures and obligations because you want to follow something you actually enjoy and brings you fulfillment. Okay, so you're not fighting for bliss, but you're making something from bliss. Then you step into that creator role. It's not about fighting with someone all the time to achieve something. It's just doing it because you enjoy it. That's it. That's reason enough, right? So I feel like that's where your mind is shifting, and you don't see anyone as an enemy. You don't feel the need to fight for anything. I'm not saying that's what you do, but just saying that, you kind of see the world as a more united place than this, even if there are, of course, people who would like to take actions in another direction. That's not in everyone's control. Everyone has their own actions and volition and free will and all of that. So you are using that to make something gorgeous out of your life. Then we have nourish the sacred feminine. Oh, goodness. You are a divine masculine zodiac, okay? You're a masculine zodiac, and we have so much about intuition and the feminine. It's as though you're going deep within and finding all of the little resources you need to find unity and wholeness within yourself, because masculine and the feminine needs to be together. They need to work together in order for harmony to happen within, for you to feel peace, bliss, and fulfillment in everything that you do every day. You can have power and still not lose sight of what's, really important, what is purposeful. Power without purpose kind of gets scattered, right? And purpose without power may not get fulfilled. So they need to kind of work in tandem and not be at war with each other. Being sensitive does not mean that you're not strong, and being strong doesn't mean that you can't be sensitive. Things like that. So you're understanding the many facets that you yourself have, and I feel you're filled with gratitude, and also you want to discover more. Okay? And this thirst, this questioning and investigation is definitely going to be quenched through this eclipse here. Something creative, if you're doing creative expression through art or performance, something like that, then this would be a time when you're trying to find your exact line and your style. It can feel, again, conflicting when you're not finding something that really resonates with you. But all of these little things that don't work out are also teaching you something about the craft, about your mentality, about what holds you back, etc. And at the end of the road, you're coming out very victorious. Okay? Next we have, when I lean on the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. Yeah, you're gonna have to go with some faith, because what's the alternative? Sit where you are and be as you are and all of that? If that is the case, great. Okay? Even then, you're leaning on faith that everything stays as it is, right? If there is no faith in something, whether life as it is or the life that you want or whatever, then we're not peaceful regardless of how gorgeous our life is at the moment, because we can't recognize the little small things that make our lives very wonderful. It can be one friend, it can be one connection, it can be the higher self, it can be our emotional body, our prowess, the acknowledgement of something that is valuable to us kind of affirms that you can do it, you have it, Therefore, you can create more of it. How did you get it? It has a lot of value. Each thing has a value tied to it, right? How much, how little, that is going to depend on each and every person. That was a random message that I got, but it just really came through. But yes, okay. That's one affirmation. Trusting your intuition once more. Purple connects with the crown chakra, which connects with the higher body. And we have another one here. The moment I realign with love, clear direction is presented to me. Yeah, when you do something out of wanting it just because you enjoy it, then you will find more things that you are driven by, that you're motivated to do. There's a lot more inspiration where that came from, and you're just going to keep on getting more cues and directions and kind of guidances about where you can go next. But each and everything, that all the steps that you take, the little ones, like click here and save it over there, or oh, this picture, not that one, the very small things as well. When you trust your intuition and do that, it kind of makes sense, and you won't know that in the process. It just feels like you're trusting your gut instinct and you're just doing something, but in the end it just makes sense. Okay, cool. And that's very important, because with the devil here, attaching yourself to something is just going to kind of diminish that intuition, right? Because the intuition cannot be attached, only the ego can. So when we attach ourselves to an outcome, then we are restricting how far it can grow or be, and that limitation itself is the mindset that we are working through, I feel. Okay, then finally we have, instead of praying for an outcome, there you go, we were talking about outcomes so much. Instead of praying for an outcome, I pray for the highest good for all. Like, no matter what the result, it is going to be perfect for you at this time and for your life down the line as well. Okay, so if you don't get into a particular university, let's say, that's not a problem. There are many more out there, and we don't have any shortage of that. Okay, there's somewhere else that is more fitted for you. It might not have the best rank, for example, or it might not have the exact teacher that you're looking for or the exact course that you were searching for. It's a hidden gem that has not been uncovered yet. So rejection, say, okay, thank you, not for me. I'm gonna go and do something that is really beneficial for me for the long run. We have very limited perspective, and this eclipse here is shaking that up and broadening your horizons. It's asking you to transcend your current limitations and rise above it, because you can, and wage forward with a renewed sense of purpose and passion. Okay, now let's get you Astro Dice. See what's happening for Aries November eclipse. We have Pisces, Mars in the 9th house. Okay, Mars in the 9th house is again broadening the horizon. Pisces is on the one hand about fears and insecurities, kind of being a little bit delusional of, you know, oh my god, I saw a ghost right now. It's sort of that, I know I'm exaggerating for effect, but it is sort of, it is hard for it to pinpoint reality properly, and that can happen when we're very fearful about things, right? Mars in Sag, 9th house would be Sagittarius house. So Mars in Sagittarius is very broad-minded and wants to explore many different backgrounds and learn from many different topics. And again, it can exhaust itself while not committing to one thing. But all of these random information that it gets, it actually forms a bigger picture that kind of connects very neatly. So we don't need to be an expert in each and every subject in order to get the basic meaning that we need out of it. Of course, it's great if you want to be driven towards one direction, go right ahead. Also, this is about spiritual and religious purpose. You might be thinking about, again, your belief systems, dissolving fears, and Pisces on the plus side is very, very spiritual and super in tune with their intuition and flows, is harmonizing and so on. Okay, so perhaps not your favorite zodiacal combinations, because they're all about go with the flow, see where it takes you. Both of them are mutable signs. Meanwhile, you are a cardinal, action-oriented, clear plan of action, let's go, let's be on it type of zodiac. So perhaps not the best blend, and that might be causing some sparks. But it's also exciting at the same time. Okay, there is like breaking, but then there is also excitement. Yes. Okay, so that's what I have for you, Aries. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope the messages resonated and help you out. Let me know your thoughts. If you want a personal reading, you can reach me via Etsy. The link is in the description box in the comment below. I will see you some other time. Check out the other videos if you're interested. But until next time, take care. Bye.